But
Free roam. How's it
We're
going?
back.
We're back. We're back,
Yeah.
fam. Yup. We're back. We
yes. Yeah. People are asking why not a live show today. You could tell that yourself, but glad that we are here. But I was home all day. I've less to say.
Yeah.
It's not as exciting.
Yeah,
I've been chilling. It's great. But
I've been scrambling, fam. Okay, I've been scrambling. Okay, I actually woke up at 3 a.m. this morning in California, and I hopped on an airplane and flew back because I had a kind of cool thing to do in the Bay Area. And that's all I can say. You can scramble these nuts, says 53. Yeah, but that's why. It kind of had to be a little secretive, and it was like kind of thrown together, but we're back, we're here, we're vibing.
Yeah.
I'm vibing. We're doing the thing. So we're gonna talk about it.
Well, you were scrambling and not Sphinx. Or no, that's 53 Nights saying that. But I was listening to the Ubisoft investor call, taking one for the team, you know. So we got some info on that.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And Mafia, we have to discuss that.
Yeah, okay, so guys, I don't know if you guys have seen Jor's take, but right before we hit live, Jor goes, "Yeah, have you heard my take on the Mafia stuff?" It's like, what do you mean? Like, no, I'm not. So I'm braced. This might be the episode where everything falls apart. You never know. This might be the major Fallout episode.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. We walk carefully, Jor. Tread carefully.
I would just want to know what you're getting into. That's kind of my thing.
Okay.
Did you watch like them talking about? Yeah, I think you watched the developer deep dive too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think they're just very carefully and very, they're really saying a lot of words, but basically trying to convince you that this super hyper linear story or game they're going to make is what will benefit the title. But my overall takeaway is, for me, it feels too gamey in that I can already see for the blocks. So you got your very typical stealth section. For people who did not watch the trailer. So yeah, it's of course in Sicily. You play this guy Enzo, and you can like sneak around, and you get caught, you shoot. Then there are the very like focused chase scenes in a car on a horse, and then you probably lose your horse, your car breaks down, and then there happens to be a guy in a very nicely orchestrated battle arena, which is like a circle, and he's like waiting for you. There you are. And then you go fight with a knife. And to me, I am getting a lot of Order 1886 vibes from this game because of the super linear nature. I mean, the game looks beautiful, of course, Unreal Engine 5, but I really think there won't be a lot of room for your own interpretation, for your own freedom. I really think they're gonna hold your hands, not let go till the end, and then after 7 hours, I mean, everyone's like, everyone is raising the price, at least Mafia has $50. Well, it's $50 because it's not going to be a long game, I think, especially when 2K says, and I'm gonna find the quote right now, but I think that if a publisher is saying this to promote their game, they are trying to set your expectations right. We think there's a large audience for compelling stories that don't require massive time commitments. That's why we're excited to offer a game like Mafia in our portfolio, to provide a linear, highly polished narrative experience. I really think that this is your equivalent of the $40 Lost Legacy game from the previous generation. And I saw people say 15 hours. I don't really think that that's what you're getting here. I really hope the story is great, but I'm just not seeing the interesting gameplay elements. I'm only seeing a very beautifully crafted world a lot of following a character from point A to point B. Then you probably can sneak around. Oh, you get caught, you shoot. The aiming seems pretty hard. You in the trailer see the character like miss a lot of times or shoot a candle while the character is hiding behind it. I'm like, how is this possible? How can that character not die? And then you have some boss arenas where you fight with a knife. You probably have to dodge, hit, kind of like the Order 1886 boss battles. And that's the end of the game. That's kind of what I got from it. And then they have this whole developer deep dive. Again, the game is coming out in a few months. They only, during the developer deep dive, almost only showed the trailer again. Or like very small tidbits. They are afraid to show you 5 minutes of this game in one session. Now you can. That's it. That's
well, guys. The show was fun while it lasted.
It was nice knowing you, Joe.
No, I actually think I'll like almost everything you said. I'm like, yeah, no. One of the things we said, if you guys watched the stream clip, was when I see a $50 price point, I think either it could be two or both. You know, one of two things, or it could be both. When a big company like 2K prices something at 50, it tells you either it's going to be way shorter and they just could not justify, like there's no argument to be made for a higher price. So, you know, it could be a 5 hour, it could be a 6 hour, 7 hour, 10 hour, whatever. It's a smaller thing. And, or it could be that they're trying to like sell it partially by way of like garnering good faith and goodwill with the community, which is something we've seen works pretty well with games like Clair Obscur, even because a lot of people are like, I don't know if I'm going to try that. It seems really niche. It's not really my thing, but they see the lower price point. Okay, I'll give it a shot. So it could be, you know, they're just trying to lean into goodwill and it is going to be 20 hours. It could be that it's just really short and they don't really care that much about goodwill, or it could be both. And they're like, yeah, we'll go lower price and we'll get the benefit of this and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I think that that's a very valid concern. And, you know, length is something that I think everybody will be very locked into. As for like the discussion over structure and things, like how you can tell that it goes from this sequence to this, I mean, to me it just sounds like a video game. I think it's going to be structured like an Uncharted game. At least that's the vibe I'm getting. You know, I guess you could sort of also point to the Order 1886, but from what I can tell, like there's these wider levels that have like driving or the horseback riding, and so those make me think of like the opening bits in Madagascar in Uncharted 4, for example, where you're funneled into one point, but it is wider and there is stuff for you to look for, like little secrets and trinkets around corners and stuff. But fundamentally, at the end of the day, I mean, they are taking you on a linear path up a mountain, and that's what's going to happen to everybody. And I'm okay with that. Like, my thing with Mafia has always been that the weakest point of those games has always been the open world. And from my perspective, if you can't do something well, you probably just shouldn't do it at all, especially in the context of video games where like any problem will get blown up into like a 1 or 2 point, you know, a ding on your Metacritic, and it's just a reason for people not to play it. So from my point of view, if you can't do an open world in a satisfactory way, don't. Like go linear, go tighter, and just do that well. And that's, I think, what we saw with Mafia Definitive Edition, which of course was the last project from this team, granted a remake, but they, in my opinion, really did a good job of getting those narrative and more narrow sequences down and really polished. So like, I guess to wrap up my thought on it, I don't think this is one of those things where, oh, apologies, we're getting like some lag. I don't know what's happening. But from my point of view, this is not the type of game at this point where you should ever be like pre-ordering or anything like that, especially when you look at the recent track record, the recent games from them. There's reason to be skeptical, of course. The last non-remake thing, the last like main AAA thing they did was in 2016 with Mafia 3. There's a reason to be doubtful after that. Okay, they have had definitive edition, which of course I think was much better, but of course you should not be like throwing your money at this expecting like a 30 to 50 hour epic, because that's just not what it's going to be, I don't think. So let me ask you this: at what at what hour count, assuming that it's in that sort of Uncharted structure, assuming it maintains like the fidelity we've seen in the trailers and stuff, what length would you be happy with for $50? And I want to hear from people in chat too.
Yeah. I really think, for one, because of the linear nature, there won't be like a lot of replayability or something like that. And yeah, you mentioned the open levels, but it does feel like a lot of set dressing. I hope it is, for example, like the opening of Expedition 33. That's kind of what that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So yeah, you can talk to certain people, you can get some Easter eggs, blah blah blah, but it's still very clear that you really have to walk, and that's where you have to go. And then you probably never go to that area ever again. Maybe one time because there's a story moment, but not because you can choose. So I hope, I would say 12 for like getting like the platinum. I think that would be solid. If like every hour is like great, I think that's awesome. But I'm just seeing like the boss battles, I don't know, they seem a little too gamey for me, where it's very clear that they made this sort of arena and there's this guy with a shotgun waiting for you. It feels kind of like weird. Where for example in the early like Indiana Jones, you had these very cool environments that turn into like a cool boss arena where you could fight. So I would say 12 hours, but I'm seeing people say 15 to 20, and that was kind of my point mostly, with also the video that I did, that I really think that this is going to be a short, like 7-hour game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, of course, it always comes down to like quality, and that's my primary concern and question, is just like, what are we actually dealing with? I think, I would probably be happy somewhere in like the 12 to 15 hour mark. I'd say that that's like a good lean story. Like I believe the original Last of Us was also right around that mark as well, and I feel like that's a really good pace. Anything more than that, it's often like it starts to really feel like it's dragging. And the $50 price point I think can help with that. If it were 70 to 80, bucks, I would have, of course, higher expectations. Whether that comes to just scope and scale or length, replayability, that type of thing. But I think 12 to 15, I'd be a happy camper. If it's less than that, it's definitely something that needs to be discussed and mentioned in the review. Because for some people, they're like $50 for like 8 hours. And I know there's always going to be the people who are like, but I spend $80 going to the movies with how expensive everything is now. It's like, okay, but these aren't movies. Like, these are video games, and people just have different standards, which is why like we can present them and tell you, hey, we reviewed this game and it's 6 hours long, and then you can make of that what you will. But it's definitely something to keep an eye on. But when it comes to like, again, the structure, the fact that it's linear as opposed to more open, the fact that they are taking some player like freedom to just randomly explore, they're taking that away and instead keeping you going through more narrative and narrow passageways. To me, I'm actually okay with that, and if anything, I'm more excited for Mafia, specifically given that information, because I've seen what happens when they try to be more open, and I don't think it's their strength.
No, for sure. But like, I really think looking at those chase scenes, they are probably 10 minutes. How many of those will be there? So another point, and that's where my prediction from earlier this year, we discussed it even on the podcast as well, where I, after like seeing the first trailer, like when we only had the first trailer, looking at just the timeline for Hangar 13, their big new IP got canceled at the end of 2021. So they started working on this in 2022. They got 3 years to basically kind of on the ground up make a new Mafia feeling game. And yeah, that to me was already kind of that. It's not gonna be that long, because otherwise that's a pretty fast like turnaround time for a 15-hour game of the quality that we've seen in the trailer. Like, it is very cinematic. So again, that's also where I'm kind of coming from, where I'm not sure if they can keep up that quality with that budget for 15 hours.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure.
Well, it's interesting because like you remember Hellblade 2, Senua's Sacrifice or Saga, whatever.
Oh
it was.
yeah.
And
no,
that
I forgot about it actually.
Yeah,
Not
a lot of people did.
The second one.
Yeah, the second one, like a lot of us were like, how is this game so short? It's like 5 hours at best. And it's like, how on earth is it only this long? And then, people were looking at when the last game came out, like it's been 6 years or whatever it had been at that point, 7 years or something. But everybody just kind of missed that. No, they made a live service game between that. They made Bleeding Edge, which released and flopped. So like they actually threw Hellblade together in like 2 years. And then it starts to make a lot more sense why it was so short and why it didn't have much, because it was a very quick turnaround by a pretty small team. And I think, with this, that's definitely something to consider. The other piece with Hangar 13 is that they have undergone major layoffs in the last decade. So a lot of the people, this might be seen as a good thing. A lot of people that worked on Mafia 3 are no longer there, which some people are probably going to celebrate. But it's changed a lot. And for me, I would not be this optimistic with it if I had not played Definitive Edition. I think that remake gave me a lot of confidence in their abilities, at least, because I was like, I would like more of this. I like this. Give me more of this. And if I say that about your game, it makes me more excited for the next one. You still got to be skeptical, because again, that's a remake of a previously established phenomenal game, and this is something they're building from scratch. And so you should be skeptical. Absolutely. But I do think that little line that you pulled from, I'm guessing it's the website or something, where they're like, we think there's a place for games that aren't, what was the verbiage? They said like excessively long or
let me quickly get that again. I by the way did some research on like a Kotaku report, also going over the Hangar 13 sort of history. So we can touch on that in a moment. But what they said is, we think there's a large audience for compelling stories that don't require massive time commitments.
Massive time commitments. Because that could
why
be.
Would you say that?
Well,
why
it could be Assassin's Creed Valhalla, or it could be like, do they consider massive time commitment like 50 hours, or do they think like, this is not 200 hour game, like we're going to be much leaner? You just don't know. And that's, I think, your point is that it could go either way. They could mean, so therefore it's 15 to 20, or they could mean you'll finish it in 30 minutes. Like it's a tech demo.
Yeah.
You just don't really know.
But since they're talking about it in relation to the price, that's where my kind of red flag is coming from, where, right, if you, because otherwise you can still ask the $70 if it's a 15 to 20 hour game, I think, if it is this quality all the way around. But if you're saying, yeah, we're asking $50 for it because we think there's room for games that don't require a massive time commitment, I'm like, okay, what are we looking at here? I wish they would just come out and say it, but yeah, they're not, which is also
they might as we get closer. I don't have any secret info, okay, to be clear, but I'm assuming they'll probably show a lot more in the next like month or two.
Yeah, of course.
Especially like we have Summer Games Fest, we have stuff like that happening. I don't know. Have they said if they're going to Summer Games Fest? I don't actually know.
I mean, the game is coming out in August. It would be wild to me. That would be kind of weird. But that's my thing. Maybe if you play 2 hours, you're over it.
Yeah. I tried Mafia at Summer Games Fest and I finished it.
I finished it.
No, I don't know, honestly, but I would assume that there's going to be a lot more marketing, over the next month or two. And that's probably one of the top questions they'll be getting. So you'll probably hear it answered. And, if they don't answer it, I think that will be deafening.
People are saying Kotaku is not a good source. So the whole, we think there's a large audience for compelling stories that don't require massive time commitments. That's what the 2K president is saying. Like, that's in a press release. That's just a fact. The Kotaku article that I was alluding to is in regards to, I mean, sure, they are not always a great source, but this is an article from May 2022, where they note that right now, as Kotaku, the Bridgerton office is currently leading early production on a new Mafia prequel that will be built in Unreal Engine 5. Ding ding. The game is currently planned to take place in Italy. Ding ding. So yeah, but it was like 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, it was still in early production. This game, because they just canceled their previous title. So yeah, by the time it comes out, it has been in development for 3 years and a bit. And for games nowadays, that's not really long.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I also don't know how big the team is right now. How big is Hangar 13? I mean, to be clear, at the end of all of this, oh Jesus. Okay, I don't know if I.
And they're seemingly also doing the Top Spin games.
Yeah, I don't know if like. Let's see, because Hangar 13 has a bunch of different locations too. Their LinkedIn says they have 277 employees, but on the actual page it says company size 200 to 500. The primary location is in Brighton, Great Britain, and then they're in Novato, California, Prague, and Brno. And so they're kind of split all over the place. But I mean, if it is the case that they have like 300 people over a few years, you should be able to put some 10 hours together, I would assume. I mean,
yeah, but again, they are also doing Top Spin.
Yeah,
they also did. Yeah, so that's another game they're the lead team on, and that game is coming out. That game came out last year. Top Spin 2K25.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, we will see. I just wanted to throw it out there. Look, I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that it's amazing. I'm just seeing some things where I'm like, also that developer deep dive. It was a lot of words. Yeah, it will be unique. And then they show this car chase scene. And I'm like, sure, the vehicles look awesome, but what is unique about this in terms of gameplay?
I'm guessing it plays just like Definitive Edition, especially with the time crunch that we're talking about. The odds of them like coming up with crazy dynamic gameplay stuff that's brand new is pretty low. My guess is it basically just feels like, you know, they took Definitive Edition and then they built a new game with all of that. So if you liked that, you probably will love this. But if you found that lacking, you'll probably find this
if you
lacking.
expect a Mafia 4, then you might be a bit disappointed.
Yeah.
But they, of course, did not call this Mafia 4, probably for a good reason.
Yeah. People are complimenting your hair blowing in the wind.
Yeah, I'm actually outside. My
this is
room
his outside studio.
Yeah, I don't even have this. This is not my studio.
Yeah,
these things are not even real.
Yeah, it's a WeWork location. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Real quick, shout out to the one and only Spec Ops Labs for gifting 5 memberships at the top of the show. Spec Ops, thank you so much. Welcome everybody who got those memberships, and make sure to join the Discord now that you can. Booyah. As for what we're seeing here, Mr. Mo, I really don't understand what's wrong with saying a game isn't a massive time commitment. That actually makes me happy considering I have twins. Oh, peace be with you, Mr. Mo. That's got to be tiring. I have 2 kids that are not twins, and I'm exhausted. But yeah, I think this is why ultimately it's going to come down to each person's preferences. Like for some people, $50. Like I'd be happy paying $50 for The Forgotten City. You guys know I love that game. I recommend it to everybody. And that you can like get 4 to 5 hours out of, get the different endings and stuff. But it's so lean. It's so good. It's a small team. I'm happy to support. Like I'm happy paying that much for that game. Even though it's shorter because I feel the quality level is higher. But that's going to be different for other people. Other people are going to hear that prospect of paying $50 or something like that, and they're going to laugh and scoff and be like, no way, I'm not doing that. So it's just different for everybody, which is why at the end of the day, it's going to come down to like reviews, the general consensus on the game's quality and stuff. And it's also going to come down to the individual in question. Because if it is 15 hours, it's not really a topic of conversation. I don't think it really comes up much. People are like, yeah, it's a really healthy, girthy campaign. You take 15 hours, not a lot of replay value, but it's a good story, good campaign. Then I don't think it even comes up in conversation and debate about the game and the score and stuff. If it's down below 10, I think it definitely comes up, and there will be some people who choose not to engage with it because it's shorter. And I think it's different for everybody. That's totally fair.
Yeah. And I see like Uncharted 4 was really short. It was 15 hours. I think that's not short, to be honest.
For me, the sweet spot for like a narrative game is like that 15 to 20 hour mark. Longer than that, I feel like we start to really stretch
Lost
it.
Part 2 was kind of in that. I love that game, so I did not mind, and I thought like I always love it when I think the story is over and they actually still have like a few hours to go. I love that, but I get it why people were like it was a little long in the tooth.
For me, it was the slavery kind of bummed me out a little bit, frankly. It kind of made it hard to be like, oh, let's buckle in. Here we go. It's like, oh, well, now we found the slave traders. I think. Yeah, there's also like a broader shift going on in the industry now too, where I think that there's like a lot of companies are of course hesitant to go for just scope and scale because that can also like inflate budgets and costs and stuff. So going smaller and tighter in scope can save money, which is a very real business benefit. But the other side of it too is that gamers have a lot of fatigue. And in a year in which there are many, many games coming out vying for your attention, I mean, having a smaller scoped game, I think is compelling. Like Hellblade 2, I think would have been more compelling this year, for example, than when it came out.
Maybe it's still coming to PS5, of course. I mean, they want to
I wouldn't be surprised.
Some money out of it.
Yeah, you never know.
No. To end the Mafia like conversation, it's mostly that it's not that I'm like I would be fine with like the. I mean, 7 hours would be kind of short, but I would be fine if it's like 10 hours, and if it's like a good 10 hours, I totally prefer that over a 20 hours where you would be like, okay, maybe they should have cut this and this and this. But my point is mostly that I see people expecting more than this is probably going to be, and that is where I want to sound the alarm in a small way, where it's like, don't expect a 15-hour game. It's not going to be that. I really think we will have those conversations where it's like 7 hours, 8 hours, and it might be like a very good 7-8 hours. I hope that that's the case. But for $50 from 2K with the quality that we're seeing, I think that's where it's gonna land. And like it's kind of, if that's your expectation, it can only be better. I think that's a better approach than going in expecting 20 hours and probably not getting
this game's gonna upset GTA 6. It's gonna basically be that. Yeah, buckle up.
No. Yeah, you know what's gonna offset GTA 6? Ubisoft's lineup. Oh, no, probably not. But okay.
Yeah, they had their earnings call, and Jor took one for
in
the team.
Bathtub,
Listen to all in the bathtub, playing
Ethan.
Horizon.
Yeah, playing Horizon. My Aloy plushie on one side, my Errant plushie on the other. Do you know who Errant is?
I don't. Is that from that? I can never remember the name of it. What's that from?
You know what? He's also from Horizon.
Is it? Okay. I thought it was from that other like hero shooter you played. I can't remember the name of it now.
What?
I don't know. It's not important. I can remember like 6 characters in all of Horizon.
That's to be honest quite a lot. And I want to like put you on the spot right now, but let's not do that.
Let's keep going. So
lady with the
big lady, small lady, big guy, beard man. I don't know. Mean kid, nice kid. So what were your big takeaways?
Oh my God, Jyoti, that's crazy that you remember that.
That's good. What's the big takeaways from the Ubisoft thing? Was Shadows a colossal flop?
Yes, because of wokeness. That's what they said. No, of course not. No, actually, it delivered the second highest day one sales revenue in the franchise history.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby.
I mean, we already knew this, but yeah, second only to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it set also a new day one record for the PlayStation Store. So that was, of course, the launch. still it's outperforming Odyssey right now, also in terms of player spending. So people are spending more,
Which,
like more microtransactions.
yeah, to be clear, a lot of people were like, very, very fairly bringing up when the game launched that Ubisoft was reporting a lot of players. Like, we have 1 million players. We have 2 million players, which isn't really worth much because you can get players in all sorts of ways. Does that mean we're sharing copies? Does that mean you gave copies away? Like, what's being counted in that? So player numbers don't really matter. What matters at the end of the day for a company is how much money is coming in by buying copies of the game or microtransactions and cosmetics and expansion passes.
Actually,
and it seems they're doing pretty well there.
Yeah, actually today Sony said that they are going to shift their focus from units sold to monthly active users and like playtime, right, or engagement.
Yeah, I've got it right here. New Sony CFO Lin Tao says there are 2 major changes to SIE since the recent leadership change. Specifically, before, here I can make it bigger so people can actually read it with me. Before, selling units was the focus, but now management is focused on engagement, which can mean all sorts of things, but probably also just like how many hours are people playing, how much money are they spending, how many individual things are they buying, that type of thing. And then monthly active users leading to profitability. And number 2, financial discipline within first-party studios. Quote, in the past, there were various issues, to say the least. We are still halfway, but I think the mindset has changed significantly.
And I saw someone on Twitter say, I hope this means we get more single-player games. I don't want the live service titles. And I'm like, they're saying the complete opposite.
That is the opposite of what they're saying. Yeah.
You thought The Last of Us Part 2 was too long? Well, Intergalactic is got to be 50 hours. Probably.
It's all about engagement. That's what they need.
Yeah.
Engagement, man.
Engage with our game. So basically going back to Shadows in that regard, like they need to sell the copies in order to get more money. But if every person, or like if they can have more players that then spend more money on the microtransactions that are like way more of a profit, that's actually a good thing for them too. So yeah, that's what they're saying. Shadow's doing pretty well. And they are saying they expect another growth moment for the game during Christmas. Of course, it will be the first Christmas when that game is out. They note that the DLC is coming later in the year, I hope before Christmas. But I think that co-op mode that we have kind of heard about, right?
Yeah.
That will be a big Christmas drop. Because for Valhalla, they had the crossover with Cassandra during December, so a year after Valhalla came out. So that is like the moment that people are shopping for games, and if your game then has a huge update, that's why we see all the live service games nowadays save a big content update for December, because a lot of kids nowadays get PlayStation Store cards or Xbox Live cards or whatever, and then they suddenly have a lot of digital money that they don't want to spend on skins. So if you then have a big update, that's where that money can go. So I am expecting something like that. But what I overall thought from the Ubisoft financial call that I listened to was that people were more doom and gloom, and maybe we as well, than the actual situation. So they are still going to cut so they had 200 million cost reduction in the last few years, and they actually hit that, and now over the next 2 years they're going for another 100 million, and they're going to do that by choosing where to be more selective in terms of investment allocation. So maybe not greenlight another Beyond Good and Evil type game that will never see the light of day, and just cost money and we'll probably never get it back. Ongoing targeted restructuring and ongoing strict control on recruitment. So they are going to lay off some more people, but instead of it being as big as, say, a massive entertainment that did the Avatar and Star Wars Outlaws game, are going to close down. It seems that they are once again looking at the smaller studios that we don't even know that Ubisoft had a studio in that city, and now that's closed. That's kind of what we have been hearing as well.
Yeah,
So
it seems like a lot of one of the stereotypes of Ubisoft and like the memes of, I guess rather meme instead of stereotype, but the meme with Ubisoft is that they have way too many employees. They work on way too many projects that either never release or they do and nobody touches them. Like they're still actively releasing NFT games and like projects under their NFT initiatives from 4 years ago when NFTs were never even hot. Like they were just talked about. And so what they're doing is they're trimming a lot of that fat off of the steak. And like what's interesting is most people, like they hear Ubisoft, they think Far Cry, Rainbow, Assassin's Creed. Like maybe there's a Watch Dogs or some Tom Clancy stuff mixed in there too, but that's primarily the big ones that we're discussing. And none of that's really being affected by these layoffs, and yet they're managing to trim hundreds of millions of dollars in spending. And it just shows kind of how lackadaisical they were for so long, where they just didn't bother trimming anything.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, for your favorite games, you will likely not notice it, at least for the time being, because it seems like they at least till 2030, they talk about 5-year plans for Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. And yeah, so basically looking at this coming year, I mean, people have been asking me this week, is there going to be Ubisoft Forward? And I saw people on Twitter being like, at the Ubisoft Forward this year, I think they're not gonna do a Ubisoft Forward. They have basically nothing. So what they announced that they will have in the coming 12 months, so from now till April 2026, is the new Anno game. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake is gonna launch in early 2026. So that's like the big thing that we did not know about. Like they only said 2026 before. Rainbow Six Mobile and Division's Resurgence. So that's the mobile game as well. Of course, they have Rainbow Six Siege X on June 10th. That's the big re-release kind of that game. And other titles that will be announced at a later stage. Of course. Yeah, Black Flag Remastered is kind of what we're all hoping for and what has been heavily rumored for, hopefully still this year. And that is kind of it. So that, and then they say, okay, so they're still expecting a lot of sales from Shadows. Like the Assassin's Creed games usually sell a lot over time. So with that sort of slate, they expect a sort of similar year as last year. And then from 2026, so from April 2026 till March 2027, that's when they expect to bring out the big guns. And yeah, they also already talk about financial year 28, so that's the year after that, so April 2027 till March 2028. And that's when they will have at least one game for all their biggest franchises. So Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Ghost Recon, Division, and yeah, they say Rainbow Six as well. Like Tom Henderson even said that they might do some smaller things for that franchise too. So that's pretty big. That Division 3 is then seemingly 2028. Or 2027. I mean, it's still far away, but they only started that last year. But yeah, basically this year is going to be slow. The year after that, we should see Far Cry. At the end of 2026 is what Tom Henderson is saying now. The Splinter Cell remake, of course, the new Ghost Recon game, Assassin's Creed Hexe. There seems to be another Assassin's Creed RPG in that time frame from 2026 till 2027. A lot of like smaller Assassin's Creed titles. So that is what they're banking on, and hope that things turn around like that.
I mean, so it's why like I made a video back. It was like right before the announcement of the Tencent deal with Ubisoft, but it's funny, I got some flack for it at the time because somebody was like, Ubisoft's going to go bankrupt. You know that, right? And I was like, if they were alone, like floating in the ocean, they'd be screwed. But they have Tencent, which is like the biggest gaming behemoth on the planet, that's willing to throw money at them for a slice of the AC, Far Cry, Rainbow pie. And they're basically they gave them what, just under 1.2
billion.
Yeah, like they gave them just under $1.2 billion after all the shadow stuff, just to like get a piece of that pie because they think it has potential.
Want to hear some crazy numbers? So what they said is that Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six brands each sustained around 30 million active players for four consecutive years.
30 million each.
Yeah, every 12 months. And that is like, remember that Valhalla came out in 2020. So that is after Valhalla came out, then even the years that they have no release, they still had 30 million active players per year. Like for Rainbow Six Siege, it makes sense. It's like a live service thing. But then in 2023, they had Mirage and not a lot of other stuff, but Mirage you could finish in a weekend. And then, yeah, so that's crazy. What's even crazier, I think, is the number for Far Cry. Because Far Cry 6 came out in 2021. And I always think Far Cry is big, but I'm like, I think that's the biggest gamble in that subsidiary, right? With Tencent coming in, giving them money. Because Far Cry had its moments, but it feels like it's kind of in the background. Mm-hmm. We kind of love the 3 and 4 and 5. But like 6 was kind of like, meh. And it has been like just feels like a long time since Far Cry has been like a huge thing. 20 million players every year playing Far Cry games.
I mean, I know like several of my brothers replayed, I should say, Far Cry games in the last like 6 months. Just hearing them talking, what are you guys playing right now? Oh, I'm going back through Far Cry 5. Like it's just people go back to them all the time. It happens. And when people move to new consoles also, and this is how they make money on it, they move to a new console. Maybe they swap from Xbox to PlayStation, or they got a new PC. They've never had a gaming PC before. Like, oh, I want to play Far Cry. But I don't own it. Well, I guess I'm buying it again for 30 or whatever, 20 bucks.
It's like cheap. And I think like these Ubisoft games, because they're so big, they are a pretty sweet deal for like the 20 bucks. And I think that's kind of what happened with Watch Dogs as well. They like Watch Dogs 2 still sold 10 million, but I think probably 6-7 million was at $20. But that's a pretty sweet deal because it is this huge urban open world, right? And there's a lot going on, and you're like $20, oh, that's well spent. So yeah, that's interesting. It's so yeah, like I can see why Tencent is like, you guys are doing those numbers with the output that you're doing and the quality that you're putting out right now.
Imagine if we gave you like money and time to do stuff. Because that was the other, perhaps more consequential thing that was revealed with this, is that they said very specifically, our big stuff, we are delaying to focus on quality.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's really funny that this is like breaking news. We're going to focus on quality. But like, that's where Ubisoft is right now. And, but part of it is that Ubisoft kind of got into this sort of spiral where they needed cash to just operate because it's like bloated so much. But for one reason or another, they never wanted to downsize and trim fat and cut jobs. So they ballooned in scale. They needed cash to keep that going. So they just started shoveling stuff out because they're like, even if it doesn't perform at 100%, 80% performance is still enough money to keep the gravy train rolling.
Yeah,
so let's
and
just
it will
keep
sell
doing it
for years to come.
Yeah, we'll fix it later, and then people will buy it, you know? And that kind of worked for a while, but with Star Wars Outlaws especially, that was the nail in the coffin. You cannot do that right. Like, you just can't. You've burned through all the goodwill that you had. Now you've got to start rebuilding it, and that's just where they are. And
yeah,
you know, I'm glad to see it. It's a good thing to like now focus on polish, but it is still really funny that that's like,
yeah,
a big exciting announcement. We're gonna make good games.
But, and fun fact, they have not mentioned Star Wars Outlaws in this call one time.
Oh, I would love to know what Disney has said to them, because it wasn't just Ubisoft hoping for money from that. Like, the big mouse wanted stuff from that too, and I'm sure that yeah, Mickey, what the hell are you doing, Eve? Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And like, I would love to hear those conversations of just what went wrong.
They did say that Avatar had double-digit growth though in terms of players.
I believe it,
I mean,
actually.
so Mickey is a bit happy, I hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, no players and that double-digit growth is still nothing. But I do think with the new movie probably coming out this year, right? That will finally give that game, and the spotlight that it should have had from launch by.
I haven't gone back. I
Around
mean,
the time of that movie.
they did one patch or one update that I went back to, but that was pretty close after launch. I think they had a big DLC recently too. I haven't
recently, like that was last year summer.
Was that last one? I must be thinking of something else then. But yeah, I don't know. I think you can have fun with
for
it.
Avatar
It's just for Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars. No, they actually have the new DLC this week.
Oh, it's this week. Okay, I was like, I could have sworn it was more recent. I was like, I could have sworn.
Londo is coming tomorrow.
Yeah. They also happened to launch Star Wars Outlaws at precisely the time where Star Wars was going viral for being terrible with the Acolyte.
Yep.
So that was kind of beyond their control, but I do think that that's part of the reason why, like, nobody wanted to really talk about Star Wars because everything about it was
that must. But I don't think that would have saved it though. There were so many issues. Like,
yeah, it wasn't ready. It just wasn't ready. And
I mean, all the things they've added to the game are design decisions that they referred it based on player feedback.
Like, they really quickly that the ability to like pick up a gun, like basically in Uncharted, it used to be when at the game launch that if you went to a ladder, she would drop it and then climb up the ladder, and
speeder,
you couldn't get it on, like, the speeder. Anything. You could not carry the gun with you. And then a matter of like weeks after launch, they just added
no. It took longer.
Did it? I thought it was like 3 weeks.
November update. No, it was in November. But they said very quickly after launch that they were going to do it, but they then added it in November with the first DLC.
Yeah. But it was like such an obvious thing. It was like, if you guys had just taken a little bit of time, gotten some player feedback or something, this never had to be an issue. But because you rushed it out, it was. But
no, but like what you said, they said that they last year October, November took a look at their whole slate, and that was when Outlaws was underperforming, and when Shadows was supposed to come out, and then they delayed Shadows, but also Far Cry, Ghost Recon, and especially Ghost Recon. Like, if they drop another dot like Breakpoint, that series could be huge. Like, there's a huge audience actually for that one that kind of military shooter. So yeah, they have to get that right, and same for Far Cry. They cannot launch another 6 again. That is fun, but it's not what you want.
Yeah, the market's changed, and now the standards are. I don't know if they're different, but they've changed. I'm getting some feedback. Is your phone close to your microphone, perchance? It's like,
I think it's better now.
Okay, I
heard something. I heard something.
But yeah, the market's changed, and I think that this is, again, people talk about gaming crashes all the time, and what I've said 1,000 times, and I'll say it again here. I think the crash has already happened, and it's in these like AAA budget, higher end AA projects that used to be able to launch at like the 6, 7 to almost 8 out of 10 range. And you could get away with that, and people would be like, yeah, I'll try it. There's not much else going on right now. 2025, you can't do it. You just can't. And I think that they're having to learn that lesson. And it's also been reflected in other projects too, like Battlefield. I have not played the new Battlefield. I'm not in the play tests, just full transparency. But I think a lot of us have seen the leaked footage. A lot of us have heard the rumblings of what people who are in those tests have said. And the reception's been really, really good so far, knock on wood, because they're taking their time. They've given them the resources to do it. And again, it's really funny that we're like, breaking news, studios are going to give devs time and resources to do stuff. But I think it's just because gamers they've raised the bar. They raised the standards, and they have thankfully voted with their wallets, which is the biggest thing. You know, people complain about Call of Duty, but they still buy it every year. But this time around, people complain about rushed projects and they didn't buy it. And so finally executives are like, okay, we'll pay attention now. And I think it's going to be healthy for the industry long term.
Yeah. I do think, though, with like Ubisoft, like what Shadows has shown is that, you can release a very polished product. And I had a great time with the game. I think the gameplay in particular is very, very solid. Like some of the stealth improvements are great. But I do think they also have to really take a look at their formula finally after all these years, because they were at the forefront of the open world titles, but they once again, like, seeing another open world game release from Ubisoft that doesn't really have the online or the open world activities or surprises or anything like that release, it's kind of like, but that should be one of the focus points as well, to kind of see how can we push this open world genre forward, instead of looking at, okay, we are going to be less handholdy this time, but still, it was not like the whole scout system in Shadows. It was not really what, like, it did not give you that cool, okay, I'm in this open world, I'm going there, and then I will find something cool. It's still, it still was lacking some things. There were, it still felt empty at times. So sure, they can give the developers more time, and then those developers really show, we don't make a buggy product. But I do think it also is more at the creative side, where they really have to look deep.
Need some really fresh ideas. I think it's also, they are very constrained, and you can just feel it when you play them. The recent ones, at least, you can feel where the executives were like, well, you have to have this because we have to appeal to this group. And it's like, Yasuke, we have to have like the samurai archetype because people who played Valhalla probably won't love the, like, if we just have Nawe totally focused on stealth. We need to appeal to all those groups. And so you just end up with this game that's trying to do, I think, too much in certain ways, and that leaves less dev time and resources to do more novel, interesting things that are more focused. Like, I really think Shadows, and I don't even know if this is a hot take, but I think Shadows would have been way better if they just had one protagonist and they had put all these resources and things trying to do dedicated side quests and dedicated activities and stuff for Yasuke and Nawe. Just have one thing, like lighten up on the shrine page collecting, lighten up on the prayers in front of temples, like lighten up on all of that, and let's do some more clever stuff. Like Ghost of Tsushima had very repetitive tasks in the open world as well, but and I think that that's a strength or an opportunity for them in Ghost of Yotei to build on.
And they already said that they are looking into that, so I think it's going to be very interesting to see. I really hope that we are not like that. If they do like a Fox type situation, that it's just 3 times in the whole game or something, and that they are more creative with other ways. I think it would come a long way.
But yeah, it's all of this to say, to wrap it up, it seems like Shadows has done pretty decently for them. It's making some good cash. They've delayed a lot of stuff, so they're going to take their time. We probably, I mean, as of right now, it looks like Black Flag remake at the end of the year very well could still happen. And then we have Prince of Persia early next year.
Yeah, that could be pretty fun. I'm really curious when they are going to re-reveal that and how it's going to look. Because
who did they reassign it to?
Montreal. So
it was Montreal.
They brought it basically in-house. So yeah, it was first a very small studio that only helped with small certain projects, and then they were like, now go remake this game. Good luck.
Didn't go so great. Yeah.
No.
Okay, real quick, thank you to Limits Breaker for the 5. I don't mind the extra game length as long as there are collectible Fergal trolls to be found. Great to see you guys, always glowing with style. Jor, have you met Fergus? Have you met Fergus? Okay, so I went to Disney World with the family. And,
nice.
We got a new addition to the studio, and he's actually sitting right there. But I got him in the Norway section of the park. And his name is Fergus.
Oh, what the heck? Okay.
And he's just a troll. Isn't he so cute?
Yeah. He's pretty awesome.
So he stands guard over the studio now and protects us from evil microtransaction spirits.
I mean, I've not seen a... Can he also protect us from tariffs?
I'll ask him. Let's see. Thank you also to Fabrice for the 5. There's a guy at Ubisoft adding Chivos, which I had to Google. Apparently is gamer slang for achievements. To old games on Steam, hoping nobody will notice he's got nothing to do. Dude, there's one of the guys we looked at. I think it's correct me if I'm wrong in chat. I believe he's the chief technical officer at Sandfall Interactive. And he previously worked at Ubisoft. I'm blanking on the name. The ones that are allegedly working on Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Oh yeah.
He used to work there.
Or...
Montpellier, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he used to work there. And I'm like, it's been so long. Like, they very well might not be doing anything. It might just be like a basketball court and then like a swimming pool in the back. Like they don't even have computers. They're not even making games.
Sounds pretty good.
Like, yeah, nobody's actually ever shown up and like looked at it. But it was like I've always wondered, like in those company offices, if there's not good management, like supervising stuff, I'm like, I wonder, like, is that where they did a lot of like the ideation for a game like Expedition 33? They just have nothing to do. So like, if I were to make my own game, what would I do? While they're supposed to be making Beyond Good and Evil 2.
I think they said they only had like 3 Ubisoft employees though at Sandfell Interactive, right?
Yeah, in total, at the end, they only had 3. It was a few of the founding members, which is, I think, where, like, when you talk about it, you look at the big names on the project, like the higher ups, the guys in charge, and they mostly, as far as I can tell, met each other working for Ubisoft and at Ubisoft.
That's wild.
And then they brought in like, oh, I have a friend from university who works over here. Like I pointed out one of the guys in my video, one of the guys, his last job, maybe he's the CTO or COO, I think at Sandfall, but he was working at like an Uber competitor in France, like a low emissions Uber competitor. And that was his job before being an executive at this company that probably just made Game of the Year. It's just insane. But
dude,
anyway,
the game is like still in the Steam, like #1. Like it's the top seller game on Steam.
People are grinding it, dude. A friend of mine, he just got to the point where he's dealing like over 1 billion damage on counterattacks. It's stupid. Like, I don't even know. I've not started grinding New Game Plus, but yeah, some people are just going ham, dude. It's crazy.
That's crazy. So cool.
Also, thank you to Brown Boy Gaming for the 2. Hi, Luke. Any thoughts on the GTA 4 remaster? The one that's been like leaking and rumored recently. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. I know that they've been working on remasters and remakes, and they previously have talked about that at earnings calls, that they have some exciting projects that celebrate. I think the verbiage they used was like they celebrate previous landmark titles or something like that. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. But as for the quality of that, I would be cautious, because we all remember the GTA collection.
Red Dead Redemption 1, right? That's a PS4 game, right? It's not like on current gen.
Yeah, they re-released it for, I think it was Switch and PS4, and you can play it through backwards compatibility. Yeah.
And then that's crazy. Like and Red Dead Redemption 2 still does not have a PS5 game. While it sells like 1 million or 2 million copies every quarter.
I actually seriously wonder if there's like cheaper fees listing your game on like the PS4 side of things versus PS5 distribution. Because why else would they, like, why not just list that as PS5 as a PS5 title or whatever? People understand it's a remaster or something, but maybe it's like PlayStation takes the 30% cut on PlayStation 5 titles, but they discount it to 25% or 20% on PS4 titles.
I would not know
because it's smaller file saves. I don't know. There's smaller file sizes when you download it. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, and then we're caught up there. Let me check over on Twitch. Scott Whitty became a sub. Holla.
Nice.
Holla. Thank you. And then I'm going English maybe. Thank you for the sub. 3 months of support there. Currently on a 2-month streak. Yo indeed. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. 53 nights. Have a good time at the gym, my friend. Respect it. Okay. What else? The other big thing that happened this this all happened in the last 24 hours. Sony had an earnings call, kind of a presentation of their finances, of their current business plan. And this particular one was interesting because they've been doing a lot of corporate restructurings, right? They've been taking who was the CFO, and then he became acting CEO, and then he also acted as interim CEO before getting fully promoted. And then they tried putting 2 co-CEOs in charge of PlayStation, and then they kind of tested those out. Herman got moved back down. The other guy stayed put. They've been doing a ton of shuffling around and new CFOs promoted. It's very interesting, but this is like the first time that there's been a little bit of calm where people are in their positions. They're pretty confident with this leadership team. And now those leaders are talking about new strategies and things. And we've touched on a couple of them in the last couple of segments and topics that we've done. But just to reiterate those, what some of the interesting little tidbits that stand out is that, for one, PlayStation has already clarified that they are indeed looking at price hikes for the PlayStation 5 to cover tariff costs. This is not something that anybody is particularly shocked by, but as you can see here, Sony CFO Lin Tao confirmed that the company is considering, quote, passing on the price of tariffs to consumers in order to mitigate the impact on its bottom line. They didn't mention the PS5 specifically by name, though. It could be just on various other devices like their cameras or TVs, but they're saying for their electronics products, they're considering just tacking that onto the price as part of their efforts to mitigate that so that they don't just start losing money and it doesn't affect their margins. Doesn't surprise anybody, or it shouldn't at least, but this is just further confirmation. I would guess certainly before the holidays, we see a price hike on the PlayStation 5. People who thought that it would just be Xbox doing it, I think will be sorely mistaken. And I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that even when they do that, they probably do not remove that price hike when if tariffs are later removed or cut lower. I think this is just their excuse to raise the prices further. So that is one thing that they almost certainly are doing.
Unless we're like later in a generation, like at one point you would think that the console has to get a price drop, right? At one point, everyone who wanted it at a certain level, I do think they will wait GTA 6 out, but then in 2027 or something.
I don't know, man. I don't know if they will, because like like you said, at some point, people who are interested will have bought it, and so in order to appeal to a new group, they have to cut the price. I was trying to find it, and let me know if you have it, but there was just a piece of news that went out about the PlayStation 5 tracking very, very closely to the PS4's lifetime sales at this point.
Yeah, which is wild,
because I'm pretty sure at this point in the generation, we had already seen the PS4 Slim, which came with a price cut, did it not?
PS4 Pro launched at $400. Right, and I think you could, when the PS4 Pro came out, you could get a base model for $250, I think, if you were looking.
Yeah, like the OG SKU I think was $250. The Slim I think was $299 in the States, but I could be wrong about that.
But like $100 difference between those two consoles. I remember like selling my PS4 to get the PS4 Pro, and yeah, I only had to pay maybe $150 extra. So
well, it's
crazy.
But that's the thing, and kind of brings up my point, is that they typically would cut costs on the product because that's how they can keep demand up. On the PlayStation side of things, demand is maintaining itself without that. Even with price hikes that they've made, people are still buying the console. People are still spending crazy amounts of money on it. They're complaining a lot about it, and maybe that doesn't keep up, but it's also been kind of a broader reflection in finance in general. If you guys have any investments, any like stock portfolios, you probably noticed the last week has been very, very good, which I'm sure all of us have appreciated after a rough couple of months. But one of the interesting things about all the like tariff things and the inflation rates and things is that in a typical economy, you would expect people to have like pressure on their income, pressure on spending, pressure on the value of the dollar, pressure everywhere on housing, insurance, everything. And that would therefore lead to them not spending money. But that hasn't really happened. Like there's inflationary pressures, price hikes, tariffs, things like that. People are still spending like crazy. They might just be putting it all on credit cards, to be fair.
I mean,
but people are still
Yeah.
spending. Their behaviors aren't changing. So these companies don't feel the need to cut prices because the demand isn't reacting.
Yeah, well, for example, in Europe, the price increase has already happened a while back, and hardware sales for the financial year from Sony only dropped 6%. So even with the console being way more expensive, only 6%.
Yeah.
And yeah, they made that money, or like it is a hardware revenue though. So of course by raising the price, they probably sold fewer consoles. But yeah, because they are also more expensive, they were kind of able to offset that.
Yeah.
What also did you hear this? Their financial year 24 revenue from PlayStation was $31 billion. And that is mostly from the 30% they get on every game sold.
Copy. They made a lot of money on Call of
exactly.
Duty, I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah, no, no. All the games that Microsoft is bringing over, they are just getting free money from that. First company, at least according to what I'm reading, to reach the $30 billion in revenue in a one financial year. Last year it was 29.6, and that is. I saw that is like double that of Xbox, what Xbox makes. So that is pretty interesting. And they of course have Activision, Bethesda.
Yeah.
Like they make way more money from their games. So they made way more from third party, but from their own first party titles, they sold 28.9 million units instead of 39.7. But yeah, if you think about the last 12 years for Sony, they had Lego Horizon and other Concord, and they didn't ever have a lot of big titles. While the year before, they of course had God of War Ragnarok still chugging along, Spider-Man 2. Now they have Death Stranding 2 coming out, of course, soon.
Dude, talk about driving 80 miles an hour into a brick wall. Like, you just released God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, which people still liked, even if it wasn't perfect. And then you just come out swinging with,
the
like,
year after that,
Concord.
They thought Concord would be like the Star Wars. So they were like, we're set, man. We're set.
Oh, man. Yeah. So Concord didn't affect crap. Affected everyone who made it, I'll tell you what. Yeah, well, and now Marathon's also in question. That's a whole other topic. But that brings me to another point.
It doesn't matter. Like, they're making so much money from things they're not making that they can struggle in other departments. That's kind of the
That's what they're doing. Yeah, they're kind of eating the cost. And what she also said, this is what we alluded to earlier, but just to reiterate it. Before, they focused on sell-in units as the primary they call them KPIs, or key performance indicators, and like the spreadsheets, they look out for that. But now they're focused on engagement and monthly active users, which, if you follow EA, Take-Two, Activision before they were bought out, Ubisoft, all those companies, those are like the only metrics they talk about in earnings calls, is engagement. We had more players engage with blah, blah, blah in this quarter than ever before. We had more monthly active users than ever before. All the stats on like the impressive stats for Assassin's Creed and Far Cry with 30 million players, 20 million players. All that has to do with like engagement and players per month. Like that's all of stuff they're tracking. And then the other piece, which is just funny, financial discipline within first-party studios. Quote, in the past, there were various issues, ... We are still halfway, but I think the mindset has changed significantly. And this, to me, it sounds like they are cutting back on more experimental projects. They're not incubating stuff as long. We've heard plenty of things in terms of like game cancellations and kind of refocusing. So like, Naughty Dog, focus on what you're good at. Stop messing around with this live service game over here that we don't think will work. And they're doing that. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, if you're telling everybody, all of your investors, that your focus is on engagement and monthly active users, and you're also trying to like rein in financial responsibility, and you're chasing revenue, concurrent revenue, persistent revenue, that's live service stuff. I mean, they're still going hard at it. They just bought out and founded or something a brand new live service studio as well. Like,
No, but that was the Bungie team. They
the spin-off team.
Yeah. So that
project.
was that just did not have a name yet, and now they gave it a name. So I don't think that's like really new, but
yeah. But anybody who's like, oh, they're gonna get back to what they were doing. I think the strategy from Jim Ryan, in its broad form, will remain. They're still pushing live service. I just think it's pretty clear, whoever, whether it was Jim Ryan or Herman or somebody behind the scenes, whoever was in charge of choosing which live service games to greenlight and which ones not to, was an unmitigated disaster. I mean, I don't think you can even really argue with it at this point, because you have one success in Helldivers and like literally nothing else that's been successful so far. And that could change, and maybe Marathon pops off. Maybe the Horizon Online game blows us away. Who knows? But why? You look skeptical, Jor. What was that face? Do you doubt it? Interesting, Jor. Wow.
Dude, yeah. We've been down that road a couple of times. Let's just wait a few more weeks. I think May 29th. Put it in your calendar. That's when we likely get the State of Play PlayStation Showcase.
May 29th. Jor's saying that's when we get it. You think it's Thursday?
I mean, that's the week before Summer Game Fest. Last year we had it on May 30th, which was also that same Thursday. Like they wanna, I think, for example, you wanna announce a Resident Evil 9. Like Capcom has nothing now, and like some studios wanna have something at Summer Game Fest, and yeah, they are either going to be, or they're going to be at one of the shows, probably at a Sony show too. And Sony has quite some games as well launching in August and beyond. And of course, Ghost of Yotei, they have the Lost Soul Aside that a lot of people are forgetting.
There's the rumored God of War project.
Yeah, that would be huge, of course, if they announced that. And yeah, this would be the perfect time to finally reveal the Horizon game and get some outside feedback. Like, I think that would be very important for them.
Like, no! Just a quick ew. Maybe just get that quick. I don't know. Maybe it's very interesting seeing the different strategies, because I thought that there would be more of a unified strategy with the marketing for these live service games after Concord, and like Marathon, get people in. I know they said early, but it's only like 5 months. Get people out. It's only been like 5 months. They're doing play tests early, trying to collect feedback and stuff. I don't know how actionable it'll be 5 months out, but at least they're trying. But I'm getting the vibe that maybe for Horizon, they're just going to like drop it. They're just going to be like, money, please. Money, please. I don't know.
No, they're going to... It won't be this year anymore, I think, at least.
Yeah, because GTA 6 comes out next year. They've got to launch right next year.
They waited. They have to launch around that time, yeah.
Herman got on the phone real quick when he heard about the delay.
Yeah,
we're launching in May now. Why, sir? That's a terrible idea. It's Aloy. She's like Star Wars. Shut up. Oh, well. Do you have any closing thoughts? Anything we didn't get to?
I think it feels like there has been a lot, but I feel like we also covered everything. So I played with the Switch too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did it feel expensive?
Yes.
Good.
It was pretty nice. I did play the welcome tour as well, and that's the most funny thing ever.
Easily worth $12.
Like I was one of the games I was playing was I had like these instruments where you have to like move them around.
Maraca,
yeah, exactly. And you had to do that 100 times, and then you finish the assignment.
$10, baby.
To get like the Joy-Con things. And there was one thing where they just like, you saw a ball and it was like moving, and then you had to guess, is it 60 FPS or 30 FPS? And I was like, okay, this is like cool if you include it, but it's wild that they're asking money for it. I did play the Mario Kart Battle Royale though, and that was insane. So we actually had like 24 people on the floor, and what happens is that every checkpoint 4 people fall off, or a set amount. So then you really hear next to you some controllers dropping, and they're like, damn. So you, instead of like kind of staying behind getting the best items, you do want to actually be in the front team. So that was like pretty hectic. I think Mario Kart, $90 worth it. No, I think I think the game is gonna be very very good. No, I'm really excited for that. I played Metroid as well with the mouse controls.
I'm sorry, I want to hear what you thought of it. I just have to say, as somebody that like uses mouse and keyboard to play games, that mouse Joy-Con thing looks like the stupidest thing ever. Like, I cannot fathom playing a game like that. But was it good? Did it work?
I mean, for me, I think that it works really well for Metroid, but you really quickly feel like it's small. The Joy-Con is too small. Like a mouse is like this. Like it fits around. Like,
yeah, if you have a normal
your hand fits
like,
around it. Yeah.
like trying to do
but
that.
There's like a vertical, remote type situation. So you're kind of losing the things to the side. So while I thought the experience of playing Metroid with mouse and keyboard, no, just with the mouse, and the other Joy-Con was really really good, I did hurt my hands. I was like, after a few moments, I was already like, what the heck?
Cramping, because that's not ergonomic.
It was not good. And I also played the wheelchair game.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, dude. Like, I appreciate the thought, but like,
for that game, it really feels like they just forgot about the art assets or something. Like, I'm not sure if you remember how that.
Do you remember what it's called?
It's like a gray box game, Drag and Drive or something.
Wheelchair Switch game.
Drag and Drive, something like that.
Wheelchair Switch to Drag X Drive. Yeah, look at this. This is what he's talking about, guys, in case you didn't see it. It does look like placeholder, like free UE5 assets or something. Like, dude, this might make me satisfied with my ARMS purchase after all these years.
Oh, dude, ARMS. I think ARMS is like a quadruple A game in comparison. It's like crazy.
It's just, this is one of my frustrations with the Switch in general, is like, you never know, especially if it's not one of their big games, if you're getting something with 30 minutes of gameplay or something with 100. Like, even like the Mario Tennis games, Mario Golf, they'll shock you sometimes with how little there actually is there. Because people always say, like, well, Nintendo, they've got quality, but then a lot of time they don't. Sometimes they really swing and miss. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention. Destin, actually, friend of the channel, did share these. PlayStation financials are out. Some interesting facts. He copied brought these over from page 15 and 16 of the report. But on here, it has the game sales totals for some of PlayStation's biggest first-party titles.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. So Spider-Man 1, 13.2 million.
Pretty good.
Miles Morales at 6.5 million. And then Spider-Man 2 at 10 million. So not reaching the same level as the first game.
But that's like the last time we heard about it. It's not like updated sales.
I think these are the ones that are in the report that they dropped. Let me double check the date on the report.
Oh, really? Is it like...
This is really for quarter ended March 31st, 2025.
Okay, that's
so my understanding is that these are lifetime sales. He says they're from page 15 and 16. Enhance. There we go. So of these, release date, number of global cumulative sell-through units. Oops, we lost Jor's camera.
No.
Oh, wait. Hold on. There's Jor. I'm sorry. This looks like the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh no, man. Oh god.
This looks so stupid.
It looks so stupid. Oh no. Imagine like an esports event with this, like, people putting their armbands on and they got their sweatbands. That's
I did score that once. Maybe we will. But you can hold your...
Oh wow.
I was super focused.
Yeah, you're locked in, dude.
Yeah, I'm locked in.
You're locked in. Wow.
Oh,
I don't know what I was expecting. I was not ready for that. So I'll, I'll take it though. I'll take it. That was somebody clip that. We need maybe a Jor
This should be
emote.
yours.
Like one of those GIF emotes that are
My
animated.
heads are hurting watching that. Yeah, I get it.
But just to circle back to it, just so we can see. So they do have dates associated with these. So like Horizon Zero Dawn, they do have the separation for like when it launched on PC versus on console and stuff. So Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition, number of global cumulative sell-through units in millions, they put 20 with an asterisk. That's combined for PlayStation and PC. Helldivers 2 is at a total of 12 million, which is a crazy number considering nobody expected that to be as big as it was. Spider-Man 2's lifetime sales are at 10 million. Forbidden West lifetime at 8.4.
Yeah, so that's old. That's like from 2020.
Yeah, they say that's
from 1 year, after 1 year.
Yeah, they say that is as of May 9th, 2023.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so when the DLC came out.
Yeah. I wonder why they stopped counting there. That's interesting.
Because they put it on PlayStation Plus Extra, and then they killed.
Oh, because then the numbers don't make any sense anymore. Yeah, that's fair. Very, very fair. Yeah, Ragnarok peaked. This is as of November of 23. They had it at 15 million by then. Very, very healthy numbers. Astrobot at 1.5 million, which is also kind of surprising. I would have thought more people would have played Astrobot, but I mean, especially winning Game of the Year, it seems like that didn't really do a whole lot to boost numbers. But anyway.
Yeah, no, yeah. You wish it was more.
Same thing with Detroit Become Human. They also stopped counting back in 2019 because it went onto PlayStation Plus, and I'm sure it's still sold a lot after that even still. But yeah, I mean, it was at 3.2 million before that. Oh God, there's more. Oh God. Dude, it looks like you're in an episode of Severance and they're testing you to see if like you're passing Cold Harbor. What on earth, dude?
This costs money. Like, okay, what's the frame rate on that? Yeah, I mean, I think
mine is capped at 30 through Discord, so I can't tell the difference.
120, yeah.
Dude, this is wow. Premium experience, ladies and gentlemen. Premium experience right there.
Yeah. You see how excited I am.
Look at the fun. Look at the fun Jor is having. That's going to be Jor's face when he sees the Horizon game revealed. I swear to God.
No. I'm going to be so excited about that. I hope.
Oh, God, man. Oh, I hope you have more of those. You have to send those to me. We can make so many emotes and stuff. When there's like an unexciting reveal at the Game Awards or Summer
like
Games Fest, it's just Jor.
Can you just only change the screen and you just see me sitting? And
dude,
you see like the trailer of Horizon just there. You're like,
somebody needs to do that. Yeah, somebody do that. Let's turn that into a meme template. I want to see it in the Discord of just that shot of Jor, and then we cut out the TV screen and put in like random little things. Yeah, I need that. I need that in my life. Okay, keep an eye out in the Discord. I bet somebody's going to work on that. That's fantastic. Uh-oh.
Cyberpunk was pretty impressive.
That's what I've heard.
Performance mode. Yeah, performance mode, quality mode. But yeah, the DLC that doesn't run on the PS4 and Xbox One was pretty good. And the screen, I think the screen is great. How big it is.
It's bright too.
Yeah.
Not as inky black as an OLED could do, but still.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed.
Oh, there's more. Oh, Donkey Kong. How was Donkey Kong?
Yeah, it was pretty good. They have like an arena and you can.
I'm worried it would just feel like, there's a cool gimmick, but the gimmick is over after like 10 minutes.
I hope that's not the case. But yeah. Oh, yeah, it's in Dutch.
What did that say in Dutch?
Time is up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Makes
but
sense.
you can break a lot.
Well, there you go.
Not sure if it's worth the $80, but
that one's 70.
Oh yeah,
80 for physical.
Then it's totally worth it.
Yeah. well, now we're talking. Well, there you go. There you go.
So I scored or something, and then I was like, "Yay!" Yeah, see.
Oh my god. Oh, please rewind it. I need to see that again. Oh wow.
See me score. I see him score. I'm scoring. Oh no, no, I miss. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're able to.
Oh, what a heartbreaker.
I'm having so much fun. I'm having so much fun. Oh yeah, they score. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. That's how we're gonna celebrate
that.
everything from now on. Oh my god. I'm gonna do that. Oh my god, you're gonna kill me. I swear, I'm gonna start doing that like around my wife and kids. I'm gonna be like, what is wrong with you? I'm just... Oh, that was so good. Oh my god. Jor Hot Wheels Raptor.
It's coming. Oh my god.
Oh wow. Oh, what a way to end the show.
Yeah, so if you're an audio listener, we appreciate you, but go to Luke Stevens' live channel and skip to the end to see that. But I will do a video on my React channel too, where I show you more of that good stuff, where that came from. So
yes, go check out the full video. Oh my god, that was priceless. That's so good. Well, everybody, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Sorry for the late stream and for the sort of surprise structure of the day. Things will be back to normal after now. So we'll go back to regularly scheduled programming. Friday, we'll have a big stream as well. And everything will be normal until Summer Games Fest, at which point everything will be thrust into chaos. Because,
but exciting, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully exciting. I'm braced for it to just end up being really underwhelming. I hope it's not.
Really? Because
I'm
it's
braced.
2025, it's like a great year, and I do think now that GTA is out of the way, people are not afraid to announce their game and talk about it. But
that's my hope too. But I also I think Xbox has got to have some like tricks up their sleeve or something, because they have had so many things that could have been like mic drop moments at a showcase that they're just casually like throwing out there like it's nothing, which makes me think that they've got enough already for the show. Yeah. Maybe they just don't have anything for the show and they're just deciding we only had one or two tidbits and we're not, we're just going to do a Call of Duty update and then some Obsidian stuff. Maybe that's it. But I think
the Gears of War reveal last year was great, but I'm not sure what they can do now unless they have something Fallout related. Like the show is coming out in December. Are they going to make the same mistake again of not having anything?
Maybe they were able to expedite the Fallout remaster thing. Maybe that would be big if it looks good and they do like a full deep dive. That could be really good. Yeah, but I think like Xbox will have stuff. I think Ubisoft probably has a trailer even at like Summer Games Fest. You don't think they even have like a
Rainbow
trailer?
Six like reminder or something?
Yeah, like
a
sizzle reel for X. But
I hope Jade, I hope that they might like reveal the mobile game again, but that's like for a particular audience. But I'm curious about that.
Especially it looks pretty good. All the leaked footage and stuff. It's not anything to like.
It's like Odyssey, but on your phone, basically.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. Yeah. But yeah, I'm optimistic with it. But we shall see. Either way, the whole Stevens Entertainment crew is gonna be in Los Angeles, except Jor.
Damn.
Yeah, Jor might miss it. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just gotta. Last year I didn't have a bathtub in the room, so can't go.
Didn't bathe
for
like
days.
A week.
Yeah. It's an issue. It's an issue,
Had to go dive in the ocean. You don't want to do that near Los Angeles. Anyway, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. You guys are wonderful. Much love.
Yes.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye. And 5 stars. Spotify.
Yes. Do
We're
that.
at 411. That's pretty good.
Ooh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thanks, guys. Much love. We'll see you soon. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.